Well, welcome to the Personalization with Ninetail Bootcamp course. I am Marcelo Lewin, the Headless creator. As always, there's my email address. Feel free to get a hold of me, marcelo@headlesscreator.com. Send me an email with questions, comments, ideas, whatever you have. I'd love to hear from you. In today's lesson, Intro to Personalization, the Basics, which you'll be able to find in the course itself under the Foundation section of the Personalization with Ninetail Bootcamp course, you're going to learn the basics of personalization and what it is, what it isn't, the benefits, the challenges, the costs. There's a bunch of stuff that you need to know from a basics perspective. And this will be presented to you by Andy Kaiser, which is the founder of Ninetail. So stay tuned for that. But you know how this works. What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to tell you real quick about headlesscreator.com because you want to get your free account. And why do you want to get your free account? God, I sound like a salesperson. I'm not trying to sound like a salesperson, but get your free account because you'll have access to Personalization with Ninetail Bootcamp course, 100%, all of it. You'll have it for free. Many lessons coming up, but you also have access to a bunch of other stuff at headlesscreator.com, including a bunch of focus on courses, Content Modeling Weekly, Discover Headless Tech, just a bunch of stuff you'll have access to there, and a lot of other boot camps coming online. So get your free account. That way you can access this lesson and all the future ones on demand right after we're done, which will go on demand in about an hour, and everything else. So that's it. That's all I'm going to tell you about Headless Creator. Now, you know how it works. What I'm going to do is I'm going to restart the intro because the on-demand version of this lesson will have absolutely no marketing whatsoever. So I will see you in just 10 seconds. Well, hello, and welcome to the Intro to Personalization, the Basics lesson presented by Andy Kaiser, the founder of Ninetail, which is part of the Personalization course. To learn more about it, remember you can go to the introduction section. There's a full interview with Andy Kaiser where we talk about all about his background and more stuff about personalization. With that said, let's get Andy here. Andy, hello, and welcome to the lesson.
Hello, Marcelo, and
let's get started.
Exactly,
let's do this.
Get started.
All right, we see your screen here. So for those of you watching live, if you have any questions, you have a chat and comments area, type them in there. I'll ask Andy. Andy, I'll have questions for you during the presentation, but until then, go for it.
Okay, then let's start really with the intro to personalization, the basics. And as basic, usually question is always like, what is personalization? And before we answer that question, I would say, think about the following situation. The typical restaurant in your neighborhood, it could be, for example, an Italian restaurant, where is this kind of owner, which is really the owner who knows everyone, every customer. And think about this situation where you got into the restaurant and he tells you, hey, Andy, welcome back. And spoiler alert, that's not personalization. Personalization is much more that the owner of the restaurant knows your name. Personalization, it's the following. It's really about understanding the context. It's really about understanding the experience, improving the experience. So imagine the same restaurant with the same owner, which knows your name, and you go to the restaurant with your family. So your wife, your kids, and this owner says, okay, he's here, Andy's here with their kids, with his wife. So let's put him on our table where the kids can draw with the crayons. He brings the crayons. So it's really about the experience, the family experience in this Italian restaurant. And what happened if another day, Andy again goes with his wife. It's a nice evening. And it's a kind of romantic evening. There's no kids, etc. So the owner says, oh, hi, Andy. Let's put you in this special romantic corner. And that's it. It's not about the name. It's really about creating experiences. It's about having this kind of personal experience, this personal feeling that something is it's special. And if we think about the definition, what that Cambridge Dictionary say, Like personalization is the process of making something suitable for the needs of a particular person. As we have seen, it's a process. So it's really about making the something happen. And it's adapting. It's adapting to the needs. It's adapting to what a what a person is expecting. And that's it. It's a process. It's about having the right time. It's about the right channel. It's about the right person. It's about the right content. And and I think that's part of the personalization, especially in the digital channels. You have a process where you have a team which defines personalizations, and we will see the details also along the bootcamp. But you have experimentation, you understand what works, and at the end, it's creating this experience at the right time, at the right channel, and with the right content.
And something to keep in mind as you're moving along here for those watching live and also on demand is that there is a certification that you can take at the end of this bootcamp when you have all the lessons. So Andy will be telling you, hey, keep this slide in mind for passing that exam, because you're going to have to pass an exam with 80% to be able to get that certification. But
Exactly.
just wanted to mention that.
Yeah, and from all the foundation. So it will be questions about everything we're speaking, but it's not. It's an interesting, it's an interesting certification. But it's if you check every lesson, you will pass it. So
Definitely.
let's go on. So it's really about this process of delivering the best possible customer experience, as we have said, to the right person at the right time via the right channel with the right content. And what is not personalization? As we have seen, personalization, it's not this name. As we usually see in emails, the typical thing is you get an email, you notice, okay, this is a template, this is not personal, this is not personalized for me, this is just a merge tag, just a name. And what we have seen, it's personalization, it's much more than that. It's and I think it's somehow an art. And as it has to be, this has to go with content. It's really this art of creating content that appeals to individual based, and how we understand the customer, how we understand the interests of this customer, the background, the location, age, and much more things. And what are the benefits and of course challenges? Because nothing is easy, nothing is free. And if we want to create a great experience, a great personalized experience, of course we have benefits. And interesting, there are a lot of studies. Personalization is nothing new. The first time personalization was used in websites was a long time ago, around 20 years ago. And it was Amazon which started with it. And during all these decades, we have a lot of studies really putting the benefits of personalization. As an average, we have a conversion rate increases of 90%. In 55% of the cases, the customer experience improves. Of course, there is also more money metrics which are interesting, like the increase in marketing spend efficiency, which usually is between 10 and 30% if personalization is deployed in the right way. And also, this reduces the acquisition cost as much as 50%. And also, there can be lift revenue. So there is a lot of different benefits. They go from the monetary, from the business metrics to really metrics which are like just the experience, improving the experience, making people happy, making people enjoy the interaction with a brand. And as we have said, nothing is free. There is also some challenges. And knowing these challenges doesn't mean that personalization is difficult. It means you have these challenges, but you can also solve them. And one important challenge we have with personalization, it's really scalability. And scalability was a big challenge until the last years, with a lot of advances in different topics like CMS, like Headless CMS, content reuses, content modeling, and structured content, etc. So it's really something which is getting better. And as we have said, it's also about the content. So having content which is structures, which can be reused, which can be delivered to multiple content content channels, it's there. It's the solution to the challenge of the content. And in the last years, data and privacy. As marketeers, we love data. It's you need good data. You need data to create these kind of personalized experiences, to create great experiences. Because if you understand the customer, if you understand the customer with the data, you will create better experiences. But of course, privacy. We have to respect the users. And I know, Marcelo, you like this topic.
I do, and that's why I came back on, because I do want to say a couple of things that are very critical here. Content is critical. I think sometimes people forget about how important content is, and that means when you implement personalization, you have to think about what content are you going to be creating, right? Because that's what creates what you started at the beginning, the experience, right? Content provides that experience. And then data privacy, the only thing I wanted to ask you, and I know you're going to have a lesson on this specifically, but when you're a global company and you localize and you start to collect all this data, you're going to have to take into account, like, for example, European privacy laws versus US privacy laws, and you have to look at that, right? So that's potentially one of these challenges that, of course, you're going to overcome, but you have to think about, right?
Exactly right. And you have said it. First thing is it's about content, and content, of course, is not text. I think we're not in that stages. Content is everything. So you have voice content, you have image content, you have
Video,
really
right.
content, whatever it is. And about privacy, it's not only about this, legal local rules or laws. It's really about also respecting the users.
Right.
And we have seen it in the last years. A lot of bubbles around data, a lot of bubbles around personalization, and making personalization. As I said with the example, it's really about creating this experience, about knowing the customer, and making it special. So you have to respect it, and sometimes you have to work with less data because the user don't want to give you so much data. But you can always give a little more than just the experience you give to all the same. So you can, for example, simple things like understanding